We are back on Taking Care of Business on Kern Radio, News Talk 1180, 1230 KGEO, 1410 KERI, and now in Albuquerque, New Mexico on 1000 KKIM. Well, that was fun with Catherine from Make-A-Wish and Rockwell from Trouts.
Yeah, it was. And even in Albuquerque, I'm sure they have a Make-A-Wish program.
You bet, definitely. They don't have a Trouts, but they probably have the equivalent. But nobody's got Rockwell.
No.
He's one of a kind.
No kidding.
This is one of those shows where we have nothing but the good people in our local community on the show. And we have another one talking about an event coming up and talking about a great organization. In studio, Wendy Porter from the Wounded Heroes Fund. Wendy, welcome to Take Care of Business.
Thank you. Good morning.
Welcome back, I should say.
Yeah, I've been here a couple times. It's nice.
Yeah, we've been involved in your organization. And Clay and I are just anything involving veterans, especially wounded veterans, we're all about. So anytime you need to come in here.
Thank you.
We've got a lot of new listeners because we're expanding. And tell our listeners about your organization, what you guys do.
Okay. Well, I started the Wounded Heroes Fund about 5 years ago.
Wow.
And we've grown into a huge organization now. We just service local Kern County. And we basically help the wounded veterans when they return home. We just try to help them and their families get back into civilian life, and any needs that they may have, we try to make sure they get filled.
There's a national organization, the Wounded Warriors. Why would you start at a local organization when you've got a national presence already?
Well, Wounded Warriors is international, actually, because they have, the satellites in Germany and at the hospitals and that kind of stuff. And they do a whole different kind of thing than what we do. And they're a great organization. We get mixed up with them a lot name-wise. But what we just wanted just something here local that just took care of our local veterans.
So when you see their advertisements on TV, the money doesn't go to Kern County. It goes back to their national headquarters.
For Wounded Warriors. Wounded Heroes Fund is completely separate. There's just the one of us right here in Bakersfield.
You're not a national organization.
We're not.
All
the money stays here locally.
Yeah. And you guys do an incredible job locally.
And you have a lot of fundraisers, I'm sure, and regular donators. But how much of that money actually goes to the Wounded Warriors versus how much goes towards administration? 88
cents out of every dollar goes back to the wounded veteran and their families.
That's great.
Wow, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
That speaks volumes.
It does. So I started this out of my house. We now have, for a little over a year, have an office, but the rent is very, very inexpensive. And I finally have a part-time assistant. She's been with me about a year now. But her husband is a wounded veteran, so she's getting paid, and she feels good doing this, and the money is still staying in that wounded veteran community.
Well, Clay and I both gone to fundraisers at your home. So, when you say 88 cents out of every dollar goes back to the veterans, that 12 cents doesn't include all the time, effort, and money that you put into this. I mean, it's
correct, right?
It's a labor of love.
It is. I don't get paid. The board of directors, they don't get paid, and then we have a huge support, system of volunteers, and they volunteer all their man-hours. When we travel out of town to go to the military hospitals, they take their own time, they pay their own way, so it's a great network of people that are just working together to help this cause.
Now, we know most of your board members. Two of your board members are going to be in I group with me in the morning, on Wednesday morning, Terry and Greg Bender.
Well, just Terry. Greg's not a board member.
Oh, Greg's not a board member? Oh, I'm sorry. I thought it was both of them.
No,
okay.
Just Terry.
So just Terry. But they were talking, Terry was actually talking this morning about something you're trying to do now is you're trying to put together build a house for a amputee here in...
Correct. We have 6 double amputees from Kern County.
From Kern County.
Just in these current conflicts.
Wow.
And we just had a single amputee that's from Visalia that just relocated here to Bakersfield, too. So we have 1 double amputee who's not married, and he's recovering at Walter Reed. And we just are in the final stages of completing an apartment that is basically going to be connected to his parents' house. They live out in the country. So he will have his own private area, his own private entrance, but he's right there by mom and dad, and he can be on his prosthetics or in a wheelchair, and he's completely independent. We've helped build a couple houses, partnered with another organization, and built a couple houses here. This time we reached out to Jeremiah. He's married, has 2 little kids, wants to move back to Bakersfield, and so we on our own of course, the community's help,
Sure.
are going to build him a home that he can be completely independent in.
Okay, now you've built homes in the past, for people. I know
Wesley and Evan, right?
Yes, yeah. Who's on your board? Wesley's on your board.
They
now,
both
right?
are. Evan is on our board also. But we partnered with Homes for Our Troops for those. And Homes for Our Troops usually just does one house per area. So the fact that they did 2 in this area, so they won't come back to this area again. So we wanted to just take this on ourselves, reach out to the community, and make sure that Jeremiah has a home built.
So you have a need for contractors that may want to donate?
We have the main contractor. He is a veteran. He built Wesley's house. So he's got the floor plans. He knows now, with Wesley being in the house a couple years, what's working,
Wesley Barrentos, who lost both legs.
And so...
both legs.
No, both legs,
Both
yeah.
legs.
So Jim's ready to... He's the contractor. He's ready to take on the project and get this house built. So we just need subcontractors and, that kind of stuff. So...
I'm amazed at how people step up nowadays for our vets, because I remember when I was in the Vietnam conflict. At that time, I was in the service. People weren't very happy with vets. They weren't happy with the military at all.
My father's a Vietnam vet as well, so...
Thanks for sharing that.
Yeah. I lived that as a kid, so...
You're getting old, Clay.
I know it.
Our guest in studio, Wendy Porter.
I'm really young, and he's really young.
From the Wounded Heroes Fund.
So how do you find out about a vet that maybe was injured, or where do you get the information about these vets so you know how to contact them?
That is the hardest part of this job. We are part of we have a Kern County Veterans Collaborative. We have a great working relationship with the Bakersfield Vet Center and then Kern County Veteran Services. So if somebody comes across them and they need some more stuff, then they know about us, so they'll direct them. Most of the time, I would say over half the time, it's usually a family member that reaches out to us. It's not the veteran themselves. Usually, they don't want to ask for help. They want to be independent. They want to. So it usually, probably 50% of the time, it's a family member that reaches out to us.
Now, in the last segment, Clay was unselfishly giving out his number because he, was sponsoring one of the functions that's going on. But for anybody that wants to contact you, say a veteran's family member or whoever,
Correct.
What number would they call?
They would call, our office number is 661-328-8600.
That's 661-328-8600.
Yes.
Okay. And do you have a website that people can go to?
We do. It is thewoundedheroesfund.org.
Okay. So the, Clay, is spelled T-H-E, Wounded Heroes Fund.
And org is O-R-G.
You're right.
Very
I got
good.
that.
Tomorrow we go to geography.
I understand that there's a new ID program that the Vet Center has been working on. Can you talk a little bit about that?
The Kern County Veteran Services?
Yeah.
I just know their new director, Dick Taylor, got it put in, and if you're a veteran, you go down there and show your proof. They give you an ID card, and I think it's basically there so you can prove that you're a veteran. You go into any place that offers veteran discounts, you've got that ID right there.
Oh, great.
It's kind of
Great.
like the size of a driver's license. I think it's a pretty neat thing.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's a fantastic idea.
I read about it, but I haven't gone down there to take
You
care
need
of
to
it.
go get one.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Then I'll know who I am.
Yeah.
That's right.
Hang it next to your dog tag. Now, you've got a big event occurring next week.
Yeah, a week from...
Well, we are on Saturday.
We are
so,
on Saturday,
yeah.
so it'll be just a few days after. So June 26th, we're partnering with Channel 17 KGET, and this will be our second year, and we have a big TriTip BBQ out in their parking lot across the street from them. We're selling TriTip sandwiches. They get a bag of chips, a Smith's cookie, and a drink. And it's $10.
Wow.
And yeah, last year we sold 2,000 sandwiches in 3 hours.
Wow. Now, and this is the big fundraiser for you, right?
This is one of our big ones, yeah.
Yeah, definitely. When we come back from the break, let's talk a little bit more about what you guys are doing and what you have going on in the future.
Perfect.
We'll be back in a moment on Taking Care of Business on Kern Radio News Talk 1180.